Hi, today we're here to provide an update on the high school English language arts curriculum implementation of StudySync in our high school classrooms, our English classrooms. Also, we will be providing an information item on the adoption of a new middle school curricular resource. So today I have with me Nancy Ronke, who will be co-presenting with me today. So first, beginning with our high school implementation of StudySync. As you may recall, throughout last school year, our visioning team did a lot of work in preparation for us to pilot several different resources. And in the end, our team landed on StudySync as the resource that we recommended to the board for adoption. Back in July of 2022, the board did approve the adoption of StudySync as the curricular resource for grades 9 through 12.
This is a screenshot from the data dashboard. And one of the really powerful parts of StudySync is that all teachers, admin, and district personnel have access to this data dashboard. So you can see on the left-hand side, it shows the standards mastery, and there's a lot of different views for this dashboard, but I thought you'd be really interested in this one. At a glance, it shows that as a district, we are doing a very nice job, and the students are doing a very nice job with the informational reading standard for 11th and 12th grade, where they can determine two or more central ideas of the text, they can analyze their development over the course of the text, and how they interact. You can also see on this graph that for literature for reading for 11th and 12th grade, there's an area where we need some really explicit instruction and small group instruction and independent practice. And that would be analyzing the impact of the author's choices regarding how to develop and relate elements of a story or drama. That question, that focus is actually on the forward test and on the ACT assessment quite often. So then we can, because we know that there's a gap there, we can explicitly plan for it in our professional learning communities and explicitly teach it in our classrooms. That's a real game changer around a curricular resource like this. Also on the right-hand side, you're going to see that we had several curricular resource training days in August. And then also, very importantly, every single week, we've had at least an hour-long support session via Zoom with the implementation team at StudySync. We also have continuous embedded coaching sessions that are happening. That's part of my job as the district literacy coach for 6 through 12. So I'm co-planning and co-teaching right now with 8 teachers at different high schools, also including eAchieve, so that the implementation is successful for both students and teachers. And then there's support that's very intentionally planned with instructional coaches, administrators, and also myself every single week. So just this morning, I was at an English 11 PLC at South High School, and we were intentionally planning Unit 2, planning backwards from the writing rubric, and then what texts are we going to use? What are some of the mini lessons? So that's been a really powerful, positive shift. On the next slide, you're going to see some videos. I'm not going to show all the videos now, but I want to highlight what they are. The top right is from an English 10 classroom, and Alana Dahl is going to be showing you how she explicitly teaches writing using the curricular resource. So you're going to see how teachers infuse their magic and instruction with the students. I'd really love for you to look at the level of engagement of the students as she's writing in front of them. And then the one on the bottom, that video is from Alex Freitag's 9th grade classroom at North High School. That is a video of an explicit mini lesson around dialogue that was specifically planned for 9th grade standards. And then I interviewed a student, and she explained what she was learning about creating tension in dialogue, which that's been a shift. Like really being specific to that grade level standard around dialogue didn't necessarily happen in the past, or we couldn't guarantee that it happened. This video showcased that it's happening. And then the video right in the middle is from South High School. Erin Martin and Jessica Martinez's co-taught English 10 class, where they're reading Fahrenheit 451 and The Refusal and a lot of other texts. You're going to see a student here analyzing why Dr. King wrote Letter from Birmingham Jail. And I really would love for you to focus on the academic language that this 10th grader is able to utilize. And that doesn't happen by accident. That is because of the explicit teaching that's happening by the teachers. And then the right-hand side is what I've already talked about the really intentional professional development sessions that we've planned.
Okay, now we are going to shift our attention to our information item for today, which is the adoption of a new middle school English language arts resource. So a little bit about the course. In our middle schools, all of our, excuse me, all of our learners, grade 6 through 8th, do have to take English language arts. So this is in our general education classes, as well as in our dual language program in our middle schools. Also, it is a requirement, as I stated. So all students have to have this in their daily schedule, and they do need to receive daily instruction in the area of English language arts. Perfect time for a train to go by. So the rationale for adoption is very similar to our rationale for our high schools when we were in front of you for the same reason of adopting a curricular resource. So again, there was a shift in the standards back in May of 2020. So it's very important that not only our high school curriculum is aligned to the new standards, we also want to make sure that our middle school curriculum is also aligned to those new ELA standards. Our middle school English language arts has not formally been through a curricular review process, and the last unit frameworks were created in 2016. So as a teaching and learning department, we created this curricular review process to ensure fidelity of the curriculum that we're putting in front of students. So we want to make sure that all of our curricular areas are going through a formal curricular review process. So it's very important that our middle school ELA team goes through this as well. As we made some significant shifts in 9 through 12, we want to make sure we have that alignment 6-12. And then lastly, and I'll go further into this on the next slide, just student outcomes on district and state assessments have remained stagnant or have declined. And over the course of the last several years, our students have not been performing at high levels in the proficient and advanced categories on these different assessments. So here I have a screenshot of the 4 data. So this is just our ELA performance by school. So we have our 3 middle schools listed here: Corning Middle School, Butler Middle School, and Les Paul Middle School. And as you can see, this is the forward data for English language arts going back to the 18-19 school year, and most currently this past school year where the arrows are pointing to. So as you can see, there's definitely work that needs to be done. And just looking at last year, the 21-22 school year, at Horny Middle School, 23% of our learners are advanced or proficient, with 77% performing at that basic or below basic range. At Butler Middle School, we have 36% of our learners at advanced or proficient and 64% in that basic or below basic range. And lastly, at Les Paul, we have 40% in that advanced and proficient range, and then 60% in that basic below basic range. So this clearly isn't the trajectory. We want to see our learners continue on in the area of English language arts. So again, from the work done in our visioning team this last school year, we felt it was very important for us to explore the adoption of a curricular resource because historically we have developed our own curriculum in our middle schools for the area of English language arts. And as the data is showing, that's not working. So we need to do something different. So this is just one of the data points that I have to share today. And I know during our teaching and learning meeting coming up on November 1st, Jennifer Ginnerman will be taking a deeper dive into our forward results as a district. But this is just one data point to focus out, as this is one of our key performance indicators for our district.
Okay, so we are looking at a couple of different resources. On June 15th, we had our middle school visioning team look at 5 or 6 different resources, and then they used the rubric that is linked here, the instructional materials evaluation tool, to determine which ones they really wanted to pilot. So for dual language, they're going to be piloting a third resource that is listed there. And then also dual language and monolingual will start with Study Sync right after October 26th. That's when we're kicking off that piloting in service. And then that will, each pilot is about a month and a half or so. My perspectives, that is going to start after our Winter Institute on January 16th, and then the dual language pilot only is going to happen in between there in December. If we go to the next slide, it's going to show why we looked at these curricular resources. All of them have a really beautiful spiraled curriculum that's connected to grade level standards. So currently we have written some beautiful units of study, highly engaging texts, but we can't 100% guarantee that those formative assessments, summative assessments really spiral the way that they need to, so that students are very successful on standardized tests, but also in real world writing and reading applications. We do have all of the resources that we're piloting are deeply connected to the gradual release of responsibility framework. For example, Study Sync is authored by Doug Fisher, who really is almost world renowned around the gradual release of responsibility, has written a lot of books on it. So that is how all of the resources are set up. If we go to the next slide, it's going to show what nearby districts are using. So almost all of the districts right around us are doing something similar to what we've done now, kind of like a homegrown curriculum. With that said, though, we do know that Elmbrook currently this year is piloting Study Sync for their middle school program. Then we also wanted to provide where are my perspectives in Study Sync being utilized. So this shows an overview of that as well. For dual language, we have a system where it's Spanish for 6 weeks and then English for 6 weeks, and it alternates. We are looking at this resource specifically for dual language, so it would really be like a heritage Spanish language resource, and that's something that we haven't done in the past. So we have really excellent dual language teachers, and Dee Garcia will be working with them as well as, and Tiara and I, to see how that can fit into that dual language program. On the next slide, if you click on there, and we don't have to do that now, but it's embedded. It has a list of all of the middle school teachers who are piloting. They were very carefully chosen because we wanted to ensure that we had people from every single building and also every single grade level, and make sure that special education and dual language teachers and students were represented. And then we're going to be collecting feedback through teacher and student surveys. We'll do a delta analysis after the end of each piloting window, and then we will have a recommendation by the end of the school year.
So thank you for your time and attention, and hope that you will go back and watch those videos that are linked earlier in the video, and then also just click on some of those hyperlinks that we've included with more detailed information in regards to the pilot that will be kicking off very soon. So Nancy and I will both be present at the Teaching and Learning meeting on November 1st. So if you have any questions, definitely we will be there to answer those questions. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on November 1st.
Thank you.